Shut up and sit down.
The preseason power rankings with Skey and Eric Schneider.
Esteemed SICHL GMs, you're probably wondering, Henry, whose house did you break into? You're probably also wondering, Henry, did you kidnap Matthew MacInnis? He's not here. No, I didn't. And for both of the same reasons, we are here live in Edmonton for the SICHL Summit 16 hashtag. We have had an incredible time thus far. Mark and Mike really have outdone themselves. Well, I guess they can't outdo themselves because it's never been done.
Somehow they managed to anyway.
They've done themselves in an incredible manner. We are having an amazing time. We're here at Mike's house having a barbecue, and we're going to bring you the preseason power rankings. Now, Eric, this year we didn't quite have as much time to prepare.
They were hasty but scientific, and I think that's the important part.
Science is important, as are the SICHL power rankings. So, without further ado, our very first guest. And by the way, I should mention, this is the first time we've ever had guests on the preseason power rankings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hosts only, typically.
Yeah, and I don't miss Matt all that much.
I don't think Matt misses this either.
Big lie. I miss him a lot. Love you, buddy. Okay, but let's get started. We have two new GMs. We're going to meet one of them. But in the meantime, we're going to start at the bottom. And unfortunately, you know what, I say unfortunately, but I think it's fortunately because I think this is one of the best guys I've met all weekend. Ryan, GM of the Dublin Shamrocks. Ryan, join us. Yes, fantastic. I do like that he clapped for himself.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Well,
all right.
Somebody's got to clap for me, right? I'm in the last place.
It's not going to be your fans this year.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
But you're last place by design.
I get fans no matter what my team does.
Something
far.
Possibly to be
So
addressed.
far. No. I'm going to
Oh.
be bad this year. I need to, no, we need to keep this. Ryan and I are brothers in the basement.
Well, more power to you both then.
The name of our new band. We're coming out with an album later on. No, Ryan, it's tell us a little bit about the weekend and how have you been enjoying yourself?
The weekend's been great. I've met a lot of good people, a lot of creative people.
Yes.
And, you know, my team was going, let's make a playoff run. And I'm like, F it, let's go and tank again. So we're going to tank.
Awesome.
Yep.
And we made some trades, and I traded away some players.
But you had some savvy picks, Ryan. You had like
Indeed.
a lot of, I think there was like the second or third round. You had
today.
like 3 picks in the second
You know
round.
what? I didn't think I could pull some of the trades I made, and somehow people are like, sure, take my picks.
That's awesome.
So-
Eric, ask Ryan a question. I think the lights went out.
Continue. Favorite pick of the day?
I would have to be my third overall pick. Would be the guy I can't pronounce his name, but it was
Was
pretty
that
amazing.
the Finnish defenseman Miro Heiskanen?
Exactly.
I thought it was Heiskanen.
Heiskanen.
I'm so glad you're
Heiskanen?
here. I can't. You know when
It probably is
Ryan
Heiskanen.
and Don kept being like, I can't pronounce these guys' names. Everyone like, they can't pronounce names. I'm like, I can't pronounce those names. I drafted everyone only based on the fact that I could pronounce their names.
Ben Jones was a safe pick this week.
Ben Jones was safe.
You know, I should have gone that route, but you know, it was just gone before it could take it.
Ryan, we had an amazing tour yesterday of the Edmonton Oilers Arena, Rogers Arena. Have you ever been in a nicer building in your life?
No, I have not.
I was.
I mean, I've been in the ACC in Toronto.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty good.
this was pretty outstanding.
Yeah, we guys, we
Staggering.
basically we have to do this again, and for all of you that missed it, you have to come. We had just the best time. Mike set us up with a tour, and they don't even do tours.
No.
So that was pretty special. The bathrooms were the nicest bathrooms I've ever been in. Maybe they were outstanding.
They were a
I
great
was talking
place
about
to
the
swoop
bathrooms. I'm
from.
just excited.
Ask Shawn and the Huskies about that.
So Ryan, you are 28, but again, that's kind of by design.
good.
So you and I are going to be in the basement.
Yeah, you know.
But you don't have your first round pick next year.
But
Are you going to get it back?
we're gonna try our hardest.
Yep.
Mike, if you're watching this, I would like my first round pick back.
You better be watching this. He's helping edit this. Awesome. Well, Ryan, any final thoughts before we send you
No,
back?
I really appreciate these power rankings. You guys do a great job, and I'm looking forward to the season.
Awesome.
That's
Ryan,
right.
again, one of the best guys we've met all weekend.
All right,
Thanks so much for
appreciate
joining
it.
us.
Yes.
Eric, at the bottom, we've got another World Conference team. There seems to be a bit of a trend. A lot of World Conference teams at the bottom there.
Predictable? I think so.
Brno has among the worst forwards, not actually among the worst defense, and sort of goaltending, nothing to write home about.
Indeed.
Do they have a shot at making the playoffs?
No.
That's a hard no. Yeah, that's an emphatic absolutely
Did I
not.
have to think about that, Henry?
Yeah. No.
No.
An emphatic no. However, Bob made some pretty savvy draft picks today from what we were talking about earlier.
Casey Middlestead for starters.
Yeah. So tell me about, I don't know very much about him. Some were saying that might be the steal of the draft. He's had a really good performance recently.
Coming in at 8th on that, that's a pretty solid option. He's in the league of which we must not speak. He plays for the Buffalo Sabres, and looks like he's now their top prospect. Dominated the summer showcase. Looks like he's going to be a big, rangy, dynamic centerman. So lots of room to grow into.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, you gotta give it some time. Chasm's off. Don't worry. Spoiler alert. Chasm's next.
Yep.
Also, Bob inherited a team, which is always tough. It takes you a couple of years to kind of get your own footing.
Yep.
You didn't draft any of these guys. How do you think Bob's done so far building up?
The most credit I can give Bob at the moment is for the team name.
Which is one of the best, by the way. And Bob,
formerly
you were
of
saying,
the Prague Knights, he decided to keep it local, move a little bit down the road into Brno, also in the Czech Republic.
My favorite part is that I really want Bob to have a mustache, and somebody earlier confirmed that he did. So Bob, if you can get a top hat and a monocle, take a picture and send it to us. We'll jump you up a couple spots in the rankings.
Guaranteed.
All right. Awesome. Number 26, we have one of Eric and I, are probably our best friend. Known Chasm since he was 5 years old. He's as handsome. No, never mind. Chasm Mercedes. Chasm, join us, buddy.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome
All
to the
right.
show.
All
Yes.
right.
Thanks,
There we
man.
go.
It's good to be
All
here.
All right. Yes. Chaz, this week I've been amazing, or what?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the highlight of the summer. Highlight of my time in the league.
I think this is the best draft I've ever been to. It felt, I was telling Eric earlier, it felt a little bit like a LAN party. Like everybody bringing all their notes and stuff.
Yeah, that takes me back to my gaming days.
Yeah, Mike and Mark, again, amazing job. We can't say that too many times, though, because their heads are...
We're going to end up saying it something like 23 times.
Yeah, okay, from now on, we're not complimenting
That's
Mark
it,
and
no
Mike,
more compliments.
Unless our guests do, because we don't prime them with any information.
Yes.
Chasm, you'll find yourself at number 26, a position you're used to, but this year's a little different than previous years. Why do you think that is in terms of your lineup?
Well, I mean, I've got prospects who clearly rated now. Like, they're going to be some kind of solid rookies for me, I think. I mean, you never know with rookies in the sim, right?
Right.
But yeah, my forward group is, finally paying dividends for me.
You're going to get some goals this year, my friend.
I was going to say, yeah, Eric and I were talking. Eric, you think now again, the scientific method is infallible, but maybe it doesn't quite weigh into how much scoring Chasm actually has.
Perhaps it's missing a couple of key details like that, yes.
A few variables here and there. So, Kaz, you've got Arvidsson, Laine, Druin. I mean, you're loaded up front. D and goalie are a little sparse. Were you looking to sort of stock up your defensive pile this draft, or what was your strategy going in today?
I mean, I'm a firm believer in best player available, and in my opinion, like in fantasy hockey, you go for the forwards, and you can always trade for defense. You can always. It's harder to get a goalie, but that's going to be the final piece when I'm ready to compete.
Harder to get a goalie. Eric, you and I were talking about that earlier. It's interesting you say that.
Indeed.
You say always draft a goalie. Doesn't matter what round.
I don't necessarily say hi,
Right.
but get a goalie at least once every draft.
Why is that?
Shotgun approach.
Okay.
You keep firing it off, eventually you'll hit something.
I'm still waiting for my goalie.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Kaz, you were pretty active. Did you find it easier, because I know I did you find it easier to trade with 17 of us in the same room?
Well, I mean, the one trade I made was with the guy not in the room.
Ah, okay.
But he may have been the most active trader on the weekend in Gary Graves.
And
so,
Gary, yeah, shout out to you
Boston.
and Sam. Sam was
Indeed.
super active. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
Sam may have been the story of the weekend, but we'll get to him later.
Yeah.
And last question, Kaz, tell us a little bit about your draft pick. A bit of a reach, but you don't think so at number 4.
I mean, I can't understand why people would draft him lower than top 5, honestly. I think people make too much of the skating concerns. I also think it hurt him that he was hurt 2 different times in freak ways, like appendectomy and a knee injury. Like, I think he's primed to be a top-line forward for me, potentially.
Yeah,
and
that is the real deal.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the Kings aren't really built on speed anyway, so he might fit into their system really well.
I believe so. I think, he's a heavy player, right? Like, that's what they've talked about since their cup days.
Yep, drafted by the right organization there.
Yeah.
Speaking of heavy, Eric and I are going to go indulge in some barbecue. So, Kaz, we're going to send you on your way. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank
on
you
the
for the
preseason
interview,
Power
gents.
Rankings. You're welcome. All right. Speaking of Henry, I'm next.
Ah, amazing.
Eric, interview me. Have I ever been as low as number 25 on
Only-
the preseason Power Rankings?
Only in reality. That's okay.
I wonder if anyone else can help me host the preseason Power Rankings. No, this year by design,
Yes.
I am pretty crappy.
It was deliberate. Okay, so we can't hold it against you. You're not accidentally bad.
No. I didn't slip into mediocrity.
No.
I
You dove towards being terrible.
I dove right into the swimming pool of losses and high draft picks.
Yeah. And speaking of those draft picks, you had quite a weekend.
Yes, I was very excited. I managed to trade Kyle Turris to Sheetal for the 5th overall, which I used to get Cody Glass. Very excited about that. I've never had two firsts that were so near the top. I was pretty stoked about that. And then Nikas dropped to 18, and that was like Eric said, it was a gift.
Yes.
So I had to take that. And yeah, I've got a huge organizational need for forwards and centers. I have more rated defensemen than I do forwards. But I somehow forgot that we have twice as many forwards as defense spots, so oops. But anyway, we're going to get that fixed, and this year is going to be a year of losses and hopefully high draft pick next year.
I think you can look forward to that pretty safely.
Now, to be fair, a lot of the World Conference is bad. Could I somehow sneak into the playoffs?
Outlook,
please say
not
no.
good.
Outlook, no, Outlook good, because I don't want to make the playoffs.
Well, in your case, yeah.
Yeah, I want a high draft pick. Awesome. So that's it for me. I really have nothing else to say except having a great time. And let's move on to number 24. We're going to talk about Sheetal. And since Sheetal isn't here, why don't we just... Let's go right into it.
Dive straight in.
Okay.
Let's.
So Sheetal is at number 24.
Yes.
So Sheetal now has been kind of swimming near the bottom, still getting some good draft picks here and there. Picked up Kyle Turris, which is going to help him a little bit. Tell me a little bit about what you see in Sheetal's team, Eric.
Sheetal's team is, unfortunately for him, not a contender, but also not quite terrible enough to get a really impact player year after year after year in the draft. So,
yeah, he's always in that sort of 5 to 10 range.
Awkward spot.
And
he wasn't this year. He did manage to get high, but yeah, it's still a little bit dicey for him next year.
I always feel like Sheetal, when I'm doing the power ranking, Sheetal always is like at the bottom, but then like in the middle of the season, he'll go on some weird run where he'll beat like everybody.
Inexplicably tremendous.
Yeah, so Sheetal knows the same. He was the first ever winner, so he knows what to do. But yeah, he's just sort of in that a little unlucky with the lottery system and a little unlucky with a couple of picks. Can he turn it around in a couple of years, do you think?
I like his odds. Despite being unfortunately absent from the draft today, he made some pretty savvy picks. He landed Josh Norris at 30, which if you're paying attention to the other league, he came in 19th there, so pretty good drop. Itu Luosterainen, Philip Westerland, and then a couple other kids named Zablocki, Bryson, and Kara. So
I'm super impressed that you pronounced all those names. That was a common theme today was, are you able to pronounce your draft pick's name? And for the most part, the answer was
resoundingly a no.
No, not even close. No, I was I was impressed with Sheetal. Sheetal, thanks for the trade. I felt like he's a very easy guy to talk to. Obviously, we met him a couple times in Vancouver. We're sorry you couldn't make it, Sheetal, but you know we're going to do this again, I hope, and or we'll just meet up at St. Aug's in Vancouver for another mini summit. Well, it's not every day or every week or month or year that we get a new GM joining our illustrious league, but I think we did pretty well with our most recent acquisition to the league. We have Ian Constable live with us to talk about his team, the Banff Rockies. Ian, come on in. Have a seat.
Thanks.
All right, nice to see you. Yeah,
welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Guys, Ian is perfect for this league. Knows hockey, super friendly, and picked me up from the airport without any questions at all about the amount of effort he'd have to do to help out with this weekend. So, Ian, thanks again for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Tell us about your first impressions of the league, the weekend, the draft. Are you enjoying yourself?
It's incredible. Mike told me about this league over a year ago, and I looked at it, and then I'm like, well, I gotta get into this league, and I applied, and I just watched the league. Actually, I watched like all you guys last year, and I thought, this is exactly what I want to be in, and this weekend was just insane. It was so much fun. It's like fantasy camp for GMs. Like there's fantasy camp for players, but this is like fantasy camp for GMs, and it was just amazing. Yeah.
You had a pretty good dispersal draft, and actually you're higher than 6 other teams right now. What position do we have, the Rockies?
Oh, in at 23.
I think 23.
23.
Yeah. So Ian, that's not bad.
Largely because of goaltending.
Yeah. So what was your decision-making process when you were doing the dispersal draft? Did you want a mix of skill and a mix of I don't really want to be too good? What were your strategies?
I was looking for prospects. I was looking to for the future. I was looking for starting to try for some sort of relevance in about 5 years, and then so with that I was looking for assets as well, and just who could I then flip to grab some first rounders. Hopefully, I didn't know what it was good. I didn't know what to expect really, but I was looking for some low payroll on some veterans and prospects for the future. Yeah.
And Eric, he flipped picks. He did. Ian traded away the second overall.
Exactly.
What do you think? What do you make of that one?
That was a bold move, but I got to applaud the effort. There were some question marks about the guy who eventually ended up going second, being Patrick, of course. Yeah. Some health concerns, to put it lightly. And you traded down and ended up in the 12th spot, grabbing Nick Suzuki in a pretty nice area there. So
out of all the picks, I feel like that was one of our first big, not really a reach, but that was sort of had the biggest response from the GMs.
A guy a lot of folks had their eye on, and we're really hoping they'd be able to nab somewhere in the mid-round, I think.
So how does it feel to disappoint a room of 16 other dudes?
Yeah, I was pretty happy that he was there. Beforehand, I was looking at him and thinking, oh geez, he's going to fall, or he's going to go maybe 10 or 11. I'm going to miss this guy, and so I was actually trying to make some deals to move up to grab either him or one or two other players. But when I started to see how it was falling, then I was extremely happy to grab Suzuki there.
So Ian, you're kind of getting thrown into the deep end, but it's also a perfect weekend to kind of get a feel of how to build a team and how to set your lineup. Have you checked out the rule book? Are you comfortable with the sim?
I have. I read the rule book a while ago, and I'm trying to stay on it. But the sim part, I think it's going to be a bit of trial and error. I don't know that yet.
It's a constant experiment.
Yeah, 13 years in, and it's still trial and error, so don't worry.
Last thoughts, Eric, on the Banff Rockies. Do they have a shot at making the playoffs in the Canadian World Conference? Canadian Conference, beg your pardon. Does Ian want to make the playoffs?
I think the way this league shapes up with the sim, everybody's technically got a bit of a shot. We've seen weirder things happen. Your team's not nearly bad enough to rule you out completely, but you don't even want to make the playoffs, if I'm guessing right. So
well, I would love to make the playoffs, but at the same time, I don't expect to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if I can somehow beat all those teams that I see ahead of me, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
More, I think you have a chance. I mean, you've got to remember, more teams make it in than don't.
Exactly.
And that's easy to forget sometimes.
Certainly a puncher's chance.
Puncher's chance. Speaking of puncher, we're going to go watch the fight later on. Well, Ian, thanks again. Great meeting you. We're so happy to have you on board, and good luck.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
Well, we don't have our other new GM, Chris Baker, with us, but Chris, I hope you're watching, and we're really happy to have you on board. I think the Metropolitans, first of all, great name.
Outstanding.
Great logo. Oh, sick logo.
There.
Yeah, Mike's done an amazing job. Eric, I know we haven't had a lot of time to look. We just obviously have the draft.
Sure.
What do you think about Toronto's picks today and their outlook for the season?
It's been interesting watching this happen. So Toronto, they snagged Timmy Lilly.
Yes,
probably the first dynamic Swedish defenseman at 6.
The first big reach of the day.
Absolutely.
Now he's a highly touted, somewhat controversial in that some people may overrate him, some players may underrate him. Where do you see Lilligren?
He's got the type of skill and physical ability that you just can't teach. So regardless of what he's actually got going on between his ears, you still like the guy as at least a 2-3 power play specialist, and that's valuable even at 6, especially in a draft like this.
Especially in our league, I find power play defensemen and puck handling defensemen are pretty rare.
Absolutely.
And very, very valuable. So I think Chris has set himself up well. Yeah. Probably in the same position as Ian in that he might make the playoffs, but he probably doesn't really want to this year at least.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got a pretty strong goalie platoon in Crawford and Allen to hang his hat on, but like the Banff Rockies, he doesn't really have too much of a team in front of them.
Right. Yeah. Which is normal for a new team to be expected. And again, we're thrilled. Obviously, we miss Michelle and Derek. Yep. Wish them the best. But with the old and in with the new, and we're again thrilled to have Chris. Again, if you're watching, make sure to do all the Twitter stuff. Chat with us on forums and on Skype. The community is willing to trade you terrible players for your picks. So be aware.
Always open for business.
Not me though. I'll trade you gold. Nothing but gold. I don't have any gold left.
I had them indoors.
Michael.
Yes.
First of all, great meeting you. Welcome. We're happy to have you on the preseason Power Rankings. But you were saying you didn't want to come up because that means you weren't that far up. Tell us a little bit about your draft. You had a very exciting weekend, draft-wise and pick-wise. Tell us your strategy.
Made a lot of waves there.
Yeah. Why did you do what you did?
My strategy was to get the best player in the draft, and I got that son of a gun.
Nolan Patrick. That's got to be exciting. He is a studly stud who may be injured once in a while, but he's going to get better.
No,
hey, with that with that NHS healthcare, he's going to be tip-top shape in no time flat.
Good to go.
So tell us a little bit about your team, Michael. I know the Monarchs, out of any team, I think, in the power rankings, have seen a lot of, not necessarily volatility, but a lot of movement, both up and down. You've had a crazy top-heavy offense.
Yeah.
You've been in the playoff hunt all the time. Do you expect to make the playoffs this year, or are you going to be in the basement with me?
My dream this year, squeak into the playoffs in like that 8th seed, and then sweep Jeff out. Get revenge for 2012-13. That's my dream.
I think we'd all like to see that, especially since my rivalry with the Revolution is pretty much kaput, because I'm not making the playoffs for a little while.
Yeah, so, well, one of us will sweep him, and one of us will sweep him, and he'll be down, and we'll be happy. We'll be living large. Otherwise, I'm not sure if playoffs are in my future.
Okay, Eric. Now, Michael and I are probably not optimistic about my playoff chances. Michael probably has a little bit more of a chance, especially since the world is looking a little weak as usual.
Seems to be pretty dicey again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what are the odds that Michael does make the playoffs?
I wouldn't put it past him. Absolutely. Compared with some of the other folks we've interviewed so far today, you've got some dynamic talent up front still. Depth maybe a little bit gutted.
Yeah, it's questionable.
Yeah, it's enough for you to score your way in, like you seem to be able to do most years anyway.
I do like to go all offense all the time.
Yeah.
That's not my coaching strategy.
No. I'm ranking up the defense against you. Not that I have any. Michael, tell us about the weekend overall. Have you had a good time? Isn't this just a blast, hey?
Weekend has been great. Lots of fun. Drinking lots of beer. Realizing certain people can't handle their beer. There was a room of certain gyms that couldn't get up for breakfast this morning after, like 6 beer.
I had like 3 tankards, which is like 300 beer for me.
I had 5 of them.
Yeah, but you're English. It's in your blood.
Then I had a whole bunch in our room when we made the 8-player trade.
I am excited about the 8-player. We haven't actually talked about the 8-player trade. Yeah, I don't even know if it's confirmed yet.
It is. It's on the website.
Oh, fantastic.
It is on, so go and check out the
history in the
8-way
making.
trade.
So, Michael, even though you and I may not make the playoffs, we can sit happy knowing that we took part in probably the biggest trade in SICHL history.
Oh, yeah. I mean, did you see the names in that trade?
Joey Leach.
I gave up Bryce Van Brabant. Oh. And I'm still not pronouncing that right.
Oh, trust me, your pronunciation is far above what we've seen so far, so that's pretty good.
Excellent.
Eric, any final thoughts on the Monarchs?
Well, I like what they did with the draft. Aside from that Patrick pick, it was very.
I think it's fine.
Ballsy is the word I'm going to use. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your thought process in making that trade, because you gave up a lot to get it.
I did give up. I looked at it as I'm probably going to be bad this year, so I wanted to hang on to my first next year. But in the Lena Ben Bishop trade, I picked up Vegas's draft pick, which I figured was going to be like 27th, 28th, 26th. That was before Dustin decided to trade away half his team for draft picks.
He's actually still pretty high.
You'd be happy to hear. He's fairly high on the rankings.
Yeah, because and then I was like, oh shit, I just moved his first round. He's gonna suck. And then 10 minutes later, Dustin being Dustin, traded all those draft picks for Kerry Price, and instantly I thought, oh, okay, I'm good again.
You're good again. Yeah.
So I look at that first round pick is really meh, and it was a bonus pick I had acquired. And in 2019, the third pick that was involved in that, I figured I should be good by then, right? I hope to be good by then. I hope that's not a low pick.
Right.
There's method to Michael's madness. Michael, awesome meeting you. Thanks very much for joining us. Good luck in the season, and we'll talk to you soon. I don't know if you can hear perhaps the most baritone, sensual voice.
Dulcet tones
in the background there. But next up, we have number 20, the Fredericton Express. Eric, do you think Mark's going to join us anytime soon?
I don't know, Henry. I was hoping that we would interview him at some point this evening, but it appears that he is nowhere to be found.
Speak of not the devil, here comes our fearless leader, the commissioner extraordinaire, really responsible for a lot of what happened this weekend, Mark McCrae. Mark, join us on the couch.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, yes, my ears were burning.
Yes, I'm sure they were. Mark, welcome. This is not your first time on the Power Rankings.
No, not my first time.
But the first time on the preseason Power Rankings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about the Express and your draft and how you think it went.
Well, the Express, as it turns out, don't look like they're going to be competing for a playoff spot this year.
Oh, do tell.
I'm not surprised to be brought in so early in your show, actually. after trading the best power forward in the universe yesterday for picks to Sam.
You're referring, of course, to Milan Lucic.
Milan Lucic.
Nice.
My personal favorite
Monster.
player. It hurt a little bit to trade him,
Yes.
but it just made sense for where the team is at, so I had to do it. Today, I can't really tell you what happened at the draft today because when the netbook crashed, I basically just blacked out. And
You handled
Life
it very
flashed
well.
before
We
your
didn't even know that there was
It
much
was
of a problem
seamless,
at all.
honestly.
it was time to
great.
go on lunch break because everything was lost. And for a moment, I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to finish the draft. And it was a heart up here, just like, okay, we got to fix this.
Much like
Well-
a conductor that is realizing he has no control over the train, his main job is to ensure the passengers don't know anything is wrong.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
but
to stay calm.
despite those issues, you managed to put together a pretty solid draft.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Tell us about a couple of those favorite
Let's
picks
tell
there.
me. Okay, so Owen Tippett. In fact, I had a particularly infamous GM in the league talking to me pre-draft about potentially moving the third overall. Like, it asked me if I wanted to move up to third overall. Honestly, I was like, I would probably pick the same guy at third overall.
Whoa.
I would have picked at 10. And I would just probably take heat over it. And I would just feel pressure. I'm like, I'd rather get my guy where I'm going to get my guy.
You were like the Mounties. You were always going
got
to
your
get your
man.
man.
I was between Girardi and Tippett for my pick. Cool. Really, Cody Glass maybe could have gone for, or Middlestat. Those are kind of guys that were on my list, but you know. And then when I saw who was left at 9, and Guy was getting ready to get up, it was time to just move up that one spot to make sure I got my guy. 'Cause
Yes,
it was-
sir. Yes, sir.
So I made that deal with the devil. I mean, Guy, our favorite GM. And then after that, I pretty much stuck to my ranking plan. Yokiharu, Davidson, these guys were all just basically the best player available on my list. I trusted my 2 months ago self for having made a decent list until I got to Victor Berglund.
What a fantastic pick.
I think you mean fantastic.
I don't know who it was who entered that particular name in the database, but I'm pretty sure he's Victor.
Yeah.
And I had heard a podcast. I think it was a Kirk Luedecke podcast about him, and read some stuff about the scouts, the Bruins scouts that were just pounding on the table. The Euro scouts were like, "You have to pick this guy. You have to. We can't go to this draft without this guy." He was the Bruins' last pick in the NHL draft in the 7th round, and I was like, if anybody else in my league has heard that same report that I have, they're going to pick him before the 7th round. So I had 2 fifths, and I picked him way early in the 5th, probably.
Obviously,
But he's got a lot of offensive upside. He potentially is a dark horse, I think. Like, he's one of those guys that
real
could be a
Katy Perry.
complete bust.
For sure.
But he might turn out to be like a Forsberg or something ridiculous.
Nice.
Not
nice,
which,
actually.
we all dream that we pick
You got to
Forsberg.
swing for the fence once
But,
in a while.
like once in a while. And I had enough picks that I picked up. So
And for what it's worth, he would not have made it to the 7th round. I can tell you very confidently.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. I said nice, but it's not nice because you may have snagged an amazing player. And it sounds like you did your research. Now, Eric, the proverbial question, are the Express good enough to make the playoffs this year?
It's interesting that their own GM, coach, president, and overlord doesn't seem to think so, because we've got them right on the bubble.
Number 20 is the place we
that
have
right?
it at.
It's pretty
Yeah,
darn
number 20.
close. We think they're in the hunt.
What do you think your chances are?
I think I'm 50-50. I don't think I'm going to be a terrible team. I think I look at myself and the Crunch as having the best young D-core in the league. The two of it, like, I would not trade my D-core for anybody else in the league except maybe Kirk's D-core, because we both have young, fantastic guys. I've got puck movers, I've got stay-at-home guys, and they're all 27 and under, and
Good balance.
All like, you got Dougie Hamilton, you got Zach Werenski, you got Derek Forbort, got Joel Edmondson, Nathan Beaulieu, who just got a change of scenery, may finally break out. He's like my 6th guy. And then Vasilevsky in net, who is he's definitely a bottom of the, near the bottom of the league in terms of starters, but he's still definitely a starting rated goalie, and with a decent D-core in front of him. I have
And
an
has
okay
that potential.
defense.
Yeah.
But you look at my forward depth, and it's just not. It's not there.
You're gonna miss,
especially after Lucic is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I picked up Connor Sheary at the end of near the end of last
it was a
year.
savvy pick.
No, it was a good pick.
Especially under a fantastic contract that I was happy to pick him up. Another young guy that kind of I'm hoping to age this group together to really compete maybe next year, the year after, more targeting that.
Fantastic.
This year, I would love it if I snuck into the playoffs this year, and I'm not going to not try to make the playoffs. This is not a full tank, but
It's a dirty word.
You want to exert
Coming from the
yourself to
commish.
get there.
no. But I mean, I tend to like to play spoilers, so I will play as much as I can, and
But probably no 50-game win streaks this year.
probably not.
Probably not. I mean, it's so passe. You've already done that.
Yeah, I mean, you like to try something new.
Of course. Of course. Mark, any final thoughts on your team, the weekend, the draft, the barbecue?
I mean, guys, anybody who's watching this who wasn't here, this was an insane event. We were all like giddy and giggling. I mean, well, Henry was giggling.
I was giggling a lot.
Don was giggling.
I was.
Don was
yeah,
giggling.
Don was too. Yeah.
And Don isn't crazy. I mean, he's crazy, but he's
Well,
not.
Well,
Pleasantly
Sorry,
crazy.
Don's not going to watch this, is he?
No, I don't think
Of course
so.
he's going to
No.
watch this.
Yeah, he is.
Everybody is great. We have a fantastic league of great guys.
Yeah.
And it was just a fantastic weekend.
Stems-
It went, like, we thought it was going to be fun. I was excited to come. Obviously, Mike had organized such a great slew of events, and the other Edmonton GMs pitching in. And, but, like, getting all of us into the room, like, the first night we had a kind of a smaller group, and then it grew, and then it was just insane.
It stems from the top. All organizations do the success, and we have you and Mike think about this. And guys are already talking about doing another one. Who knows when? But it was too successful to not think about it. So congratulations on the event, on the league, on
Thank
your
you.
draft, on your team. Good luck for the rest of the season.
All right.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thanks very
All
much.
right.
Thanks, guys.
GM Mark McRae of the Express, and we're going to be right back with pick number 19. And actually, we're going to roll right into it
Oh,
because
that's right.
Bryce isn't here.
Yep.
So Bryce was here for the weekend, and of course, Bryce ferried us around. Was one of the Edmonton GMs that helped organize. He was the DJ for the event.
Yep, great guy.
But aside from all that, Eric, he snagged some pretty good picks today.
He did. We we were in competition a couple of times.
Pretty much the whole draft.
Yeah, we had a lot of back and forth, Bryce and I.
Yeah.
Now he picked a boy from my hood, a kid named Michael Rasmussen
Medicine
from
Hat.
Surrey.
Oh, from Surrey.
My
your other-
current hood,
your
not
other
my
your
original
other
hood.
Okay.
I snagged somebody from his original hood a little bit later on, but we'll get to that. Rasmussen, big kid. Kind of the knock on him, and I think the reason he fell to 11 was that like 70% of his points came on the power play this year.
Okay.
He finished, I think, something good ratings, like top 50 in WHL scoring easily, but then like 300th for even strength scoring. So this comes off a little bit one-dimensional, but the talent's obviously there. The frame is there. The kid's enormous, and the wings of this other league seem to just love him. Comes across very professional. Folks raved about his interview at the Combine, so he seems like a savvy pick.
And points on the power play are still points.
It's
I mean,
a point.
it's better.
You
It's
gotta
better than
score
him not
somehow.
scoring.
Exactly.
And especially in our league, maybe a power play specialist would be the envy of the league. Who knows?
Yep.
Yeah, Bryce's team has always kind of been the underdog. There's been a couple years where he was seemingly unbeatable for periods at a time.
Even his first season, the year of the dispersal draft, he still managed to sneak into the playoffs.
That's right.
It's uncanny.
What's great about Bryce's team is I have so many snake puns and snake terminology to go to. Bryce was telling us a little bit about his history. He used to work for the Oilers. So, Eric, obviously his hockey knowledge is really good, and it looks like his SICHL knowledge is going to be equally good. Does he have a shot at the playoffs this year?
I think he absolutely does.
I think he does too.
He has shown in the past that he is not to insult his GMing skills, but he's a better coach than he's a GM.
Okay.
So he's managing to take teams that I think we consistently say are playoff bubble teams. This isn't a new thing for him to be at 19-ish.
Yeah.
And he's always in the hunt. He's always competitive.
Yeah.
I hate playing the guy.
Yeah, I do
Every
too.
single year, doesn't matter how good my team is. I hate every time I see the Vipers on the
That's
schedule.
true. It's because I secretly hate Bryce. So yeah, that's why I hate him
There's
too.
that too.
Yeah, I agree completely. He's got some good pieces. He's obviously drafting really well. And if you look at our league, a majority of the time, there's almost always a playoff hunt until the very end. And the Vipers are almost always finding themselves kind of in that 6th to 9th spot. This year's going to be a bit of a dogfight. So overall, I think Bryce had a really good draft. Really great guy. Bryce, thanks again for driving us around. Sorry you couldn't make the barbecue, but it was for good reasons, I'm sure. So That's that.
Outstanding.
All right, let's move on. Next up at number 18, we have Stockholm. So we're going to keep on going and talk about Tom's team. Tom, congratulations on becoming a grandfather. You obviously couldn't make it, but you're here in our hearts, and you know, we're great. Love having you in the league. Your son, he's okay. He's handsome.
We haven't made up our minds on him yet.
Yeah, the jury's out on that one. But Tom has been really active over the last couple of years with some trades.
Yes.
Traded away Tarasenko, but yet after all that, he still finds himself in a pretty good position in the World Conference.
It's not bad. He's got a solid team again. I couldn't tell you. It's one of those weird teams. I don't think I can, off the top of my head, tell you more than 2 or 3 players that he's actually got going for him. He's always competitive. He's kind of like the World Conference version of the Vipers that we were just talking about.
I agree.
I don't know how to play against him.
Tom paid me a really nice compliment before I got swept in the playoffs, where he said that Henry was really savvy and knew the sim. I think Tom knows the sim really well.
Absolutely.
Like, he seems to trade players at the exact right time and get players at the exact right time, like receive and trade them. So I think he's got a good handle on that. I know he has, you know, a couple of veterans like Eriks and things like that. Do you see Tom maybe trading some pieces if he's not in the playoff hunt and setting himself up for next year?
He's a cagey guy. So if he's on the outside and pretty confident that he's not going to make it, I'm sure he'll pull the trigger on a couple of deals and you know, maybe move up in the draft a little bit or stock up the farm. But
I know
I expect he will wait until the last possible second because he's shown every year he's a competitor.
And I know a lot of people are envious that he has Barkov. Once Florida and the other league we don't talk about kind of turn it around, Barkov is one of the most underrated centers out
disgusting.
there. Yeah, he's gonna be Tom's starting center for
he's
a long time.
rated higher than Tavares the last couple of years. I mean, say no more.
Yeah,
right.
Amazing.
And as far as draft goes, he did pretty well for himself. He had a fairly efficient draft. He didn't quite have one per round. But, you know, nabbed the Finnish guy Vakanainen at 25, a little bit later than he went in the other league. Ikonen went about the right spot. Strom a little bit early, but everybody oohed and awed in the room when that pick was made. I think he was on a lot of folks' charts.
He was, for sure.
Yeah, I think he made it pretty well.
Always a good sign when you make a pick, another GM's grown or angry at you because they wanted you. So, Tom, even though you're a couple thousand kilometers away, know that you pissed off many of us with your savvy drafting. So, congratulations, Tom, to the new addition, to the Baker MacInnis family. And we miss you, and we'll hopefully see you real soon.
Yes.
All right, well, that is the Cougars, and we're just going to keep rolling along here. Next up, we've got Pat's Slammers, the Ottawa Slammers. Pat is definitely the most cagey, I think, out of all of us. Says he's not going to be very good, and yet he has a ton of forwards rated very highly again.
And he's got a certain player on the back end that he has really hung his hat on for a few years now.
A good person to put your hat on. If players were coat hangers, he'd be able to hang the whole country of China's coats.
I liked that.
Not bad.
That was smooth.
Recovered nicely, as does Erik Karlsson on defense. So monster re-rate. Finally, maybe getting a defensive rating that he actually deserves.
Yep.
So Pat's going to play him half the time.
At least 30 minutes a night.
Yeah.
If he's not, then he needs to fire his coach because that's what he's there for.
And his coach is him. So let's hope he doesn't.
That's
fire
trouble
his coach. Yeah. Pat, same thing. Miss you, buddy. You know, we love having you in the league. Again, Pat is great at you know, staying active in the league. Tell me a little bit about his draft. He didn't have too many draft picks this time.
So when we say Pat's draft, we're referring to 2016, right?
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure, I mean, unless there's a problem with the website right now, Pat didn't have a 2017 draft pick.
Oh, yeah, no draft picks? Oh, I thought he had one or two. Maybe he traded them.
I suspect he must have. I'll pull up the sheet.
Okay. Well, it might be a little difficult to talk about Pat's draft picks if he didn't. That being said, I know he has a lot of rated players. If we're looking at the you know, at the rankings, he's not particularly strong in any area, but he's not really particularly weak in any area. Goaltending is probably his biggest question mark, which he may acquire in a trade. Other than that, he's again going to be kind of a, I don't want to say a bubble team, but like capable of making the playoffs, especially if he picks up a goalie.
Yeah. And confirmed 0 draft picks in 2017.
Okay, so Pat obviously traded that away for some assets. Yeah, not necessarily a bad thing. You know, Pat won.
If you can't be here, I understand it.
Yeah, we miss you, buddy. Hope all's doing well, and let's move on. And
I'm feeling a little heavy right now. We just had another delicious burger. By the end of the Power Rankings video, we're just going to be slurring our words and foaming at the mouth because we're so full.
I washed myself with a rag on a stick.
No good segue to introduce your SICHL Continental Cup champion, Norm, GM of the
Hey!
All right. Norm, you have
Yes.
never been on an SICHL video.
Well, except the one I made.
Except the one you made. I forgot about
The
that
best one.
Well, I mean, I have to aim.
Get out!
Now it's something to aim for.
Exactly.
Norm, amazing weekend. How are you enjoying yourself?
Oh, it's amazing. It's been great to meet everybody, and everybody's having a great time. Lots of trades getting made, lots of beer being drunk. It's great.
Norm may have made the deal of the entire weekend, and I'm not talking about SICHL related.
No, I made none of those.
Your T-shirt was the hit of the draft.
Yeah.
When did that idea come to you?
That literally struck me on Tuesday, because I did my World Champion T-shirt with the Fire Ants logo, and I said, well, you know, Matt's not going to get upset about that one, particularly. I mean, any more than anybody else. He already knows I'm the World Champion. It's obvious I'm the World Champion. So I thought, what could I do to just, you know, and so
twist the knife a little bit.
And it just struck me, and so I did it.
Despite Norm, Norm's lack of humility, I did hear him say that he doesn't really think he's going to be all that good this year.
No.
But Eric, Norm finds himself ranked number 16, and the World Conference isn't that great. Is Norm going to make the playoffs?
Yet again in the hunt. I can't really explain it. You just seem to have a team slightly better than the other crappy teams in your conference.
Being in the world helps.
It does.
We've got a lower bar for you guys.
Yeah.
An interesting discussion came up in the 7th round. I mean, the first round took a while because we had interviews, and the first round's really important. But by the 6th and 7th round, we were motoring. But Norm, you picked Joe Pavelski a long time ago.
Yes.
And that pick may have been the most influential in your franchise's history.
Absolutely. And it wasn't, I would love to say that it was because I had some great deep insight into Joe Pavelski's future that I thought, this is going to be a stud. A star. No,
I got a good feeling about it.
I picked him the same way that I pick all of mine. That I just look at Hockey DB and I take a look at their stat line and said, he put up some points, I'll just draft that guy. Or, oh, he's 6'6", I'll draft that guy.
Still more research than me.
Yeah. So, and that's what I did this year, that's what I did that year. So, are any of my guys this year going to turn to Pavelski? Very unlikely, but it'd be a nice surprise if it did.
Eric, what do the Fire Ants have that make them number 16 and make them a threat?
You're kind of putting me on the spot.
Oh,
there.
sorry. I thought you were looking at your phone.
I was looking at his draft picks.
I can tell you. I can tell you my rosters right off the bat. I can tell you what makes us a threat.
There you go. Let's hear it.
What's your threat?
All right. I've still got Stamkos. I still got Pavelski. I've still got Okposo, despite my best efforts this weekend. I've still got Hoffman and Marchessault, who have come up a little bit this year, who've been rated better. So I've got a lot of guys that can score.
You can score.
My defense is a shambles, a complete shambles. I still have Rask, who's rated exactly the same as last year. So that's fine.
Yeah,
I guess same as last year. So
are you looking to be active in free agency coming up?
Well, I wasn't planning on it, but. I find myself in the same situation as last year in that I don't have enough assets to rebuild to any significant degree, but I'm too good to tank. So, or I'm not good enough to compete rather. So I'm probably I don't know. I'm either going to just get rid of Okposo and get rid of Kulikov and some of these other guys, just trade them away for whatever and stink, or I might go into free agency and try and do the same thing like last year, just kind of Frankenstein together a roster and win another cup and make more T-shirts.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Final thought, Eric. What do you think about Norm's draft picks today? How did he do?
He surprised me, I have to say.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
If they're good, it's a surprise to me too.
there were a couple in there that elicited some groans around the room, which is, of course, we've
always
shoot
for.
including that first rounder you get right at the end. Your punishment for winning the thing this year.
Yes,
Connor Timmins.
Yeah,
tell us a little bit what you drew on that kid.
Well, I wanted to get a defenseman, and a lot of the other defensemen I had higher on my list were obviously gone at that point because people were it was madness in the first round. But there were still a ton of guys left on the board that could have been slotted in there. But I like this guy. He puts up good points. He's kind of a good all-around guy. He got drafted by Colorado, so it's like they might screw him up.
A little dicey.
Yeah, so that was my only real hesitation with him. It was kind of between him and I'm blanking on the Hague.
Came
it was
right
him
after.
and Hague.
Went at 29.
And I really, honestly, was at that point it was kind of a coin flip between the two.
Yeah.
But I thought, despite Hague's impressive size, I thought it probably might be best to go with the guy who could put up some points.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's all the questions we have. We got to move on. Norm, congratulations again.
Thank you, guys.
Really nice meeting you, although we've met before. But great hanging out with you this weekend, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Awesome.
All right, good luck with the season.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Norm. SICHL legend joining us. Doug, have a seat.
Legend.
Great, yeah, absolutely great meeting you. And it's just been an awesome weekend.
It has been.
Tell us how you've been enjoying yourself and the draft today. How did it go?
Well, just meeting everybody's been the biggest thing for this weekend, which is the first time face-to-face. It was great. The draft, well, first time I drafted anybody in 3 years. So,
that was the surprise of the day.
I had to do a little research.
Yeah.
But, but it went good. I think I did well.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Brandon is always a team that is never out. Anytime I put you lower in the rankings, next week you seem to win 4 or 5 in a row. And looking at your team this year, you have a very experienced team. And that's, good experienced in, leadership and playoffs. How do you think you're going to do this year?
I should make the playoffs. And then I'll be looking for a couple of forwards, I think.
Yeah.
And then if I get that, then I'll do okay.
Yeah,
that's great.
Your top 4 is solid. You got a solid goalie there in Smith, but the forward depth is a little.
My defense is good.
Your defense is really good.
And it's my forwards are a little weak, and that's where I have to find something.
Yeah.
Eric, Doug's defense got a crazy re-rates. Tell us a little bit about the draft picks he did choose on. I know a couple local boys.
Oh yeah, I like local guys.
Yeah, for sure. You can scout them out. Yeah. Eric, any thoughts on Doug's picks?
Really interesting picks, actually. I was like most folks, I was pretty interested in Stelio there that you grabbed with your first pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been watching him a bit?
Well, yeah, all winter.
Okay.
I got season tickets. So,
Oh, there you go.
Cool. Nice.
So,
That was almost a no-brainer then at that point. You had him targeted before the day even started?
Yeah.
Nice.
He was there.
That's great. I know a lot of people, put a lot of stock into drafting. Obviously, you've gone a different route, but I always said, I think that's a really good thing. I like that we can have different ways of success. And you seem to get these really good contracts. You don't ever seem to overspend on one person. Do you make sure you check that? Your free agency and things like that? You want to keep kind of level? And
I check contracts and make sure I don't overpay too much. It's happened once in a while, but...
well, that's happened to everyone, right?
But... I kind of watch all of that. The only reason I kind of flipped into trading the draft picks was because everybody else didn't want to trade them.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd go a different route and see what happened.
Yeah, sure. Try something new. Yeah.
When in Rome, right? You were coming here. May as well make a couple picks while you're at it.
Yeah, well, I saved my picks this year just for that purpose. Just
fantastic.
Awesome. Just to stay around.
So it sounds like Doug's going to be on the market for some forwards. A lot of teams have a lot of assets. A lot of teams aren't in as good a position as you. So I think the market's there. Eric, any final thoughts on the Wheat Kings and how they're going to do this year?
I've said it before, I'll say it again. One of my favorite franchises just for the unpredictability factor. Anytime I play these guys, I go in super confident because on paper, I should be okay. Schooner is so good. Yeah. And then he mops the floor with me. So I've gotten used to losing to the Wheaties, and I expect this season will be no different.
That's awesome. Well, Doug, any final thoughts on the weekend and the team and the draft?
Well, the weekend's been fantastic. Everybody involved it's been great.
I hope we can do it again sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah. It would be nice.
That's awesome. Well, Doug, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Great job on the draft, and nice meeting you.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Very much.
All right. So we got a couple of absentee GMs that we're going to go over pretty quickly because we're running out of time. Next up, sort of a little lower than I thought. Our Canadian Conference champion, the President's Cup champion, or the league champion, basically. Matt came within 1 game of winning, and trust me, bud, I've been there. It hurts, but still an overall very successful season. And Matt still has a pretty good roster.
Absolutely, it's a solid roster, but compared to previous years, it's a little bit shallow, shall we say?
Right.
Top heavy.
Very top heavy. But I mean, if you're going to be top heavy, you better be really top heavy. And Matt has...
And that is the team to do that style with.
Crosby and Getzlav are going to be the envy of the center depth.
Getzlav's gone.
Oh, Getzlav's gone. Sorry,
Jamie Benn.
That's what I meant. I meant Jamie Benn. I get those two confused because
you're going to give Matt PTSD from this little podcast.
Probably him. Yeah. Is Matt going to make playoffs?
If it were any other team with that roster, I would say unequivocally yes.
It's
Matt's team, and the Sim hates Matt
Sim
with a
like
flaming, fiery passion.
I like how the Sim let him taste victory and was so close, and then it decided,
it was cruel.
No, you're going to lose 4 games in a row to a backup goalie. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Matt is one of the smartest minds in the league. I hate to say that, but it's true. Worked for Hockey's Future a long time ago.
Don't pump his tires.
Okay, well,
we don't need that.
Matt stinks.
Yeah, terrible.
Matt did...
And his draft was terrible, too.
He did... To be fair, Matt did trade a lot of picks
He did.
because he wanted the people here to have a better time. So thank you for doing that, Matt.
Well, I wouldn't say a lot. He still had 6 picks of the draft.
What? You still had 6 picks?
That's a lot of picks.
What are you complaining about, Matt?
He tried to play altruistic as like, oh, I'd like to trade my picks to everybody because I can't be there. And then he charged a friggin' arm and a leg for all of them. So
We should also mention that Matt is basically, he's right here.
Yes.
He's our partner.
He's
in
our
crime
absent
for the
limb.
Preseason power rankings, and of course, congratulations on the birth of his daughter,
Yeah.
Lil, as I call her, because that's what he called her. It's not my idea,
Yep.
but yeah, congratulations, buddy. Obviously, a very good reason to miss, but we hope you can make the next one because we missed the hell out of you and wish you were here. All right, let's move on to, we've got number 13,
KC.
Kansas. Now, Kirk.
Yeah.
Now, this is, I feel like we've ranked Kirk's team high before, but I feel like this year, the Crunch are absolutely making the playoffs in the World Conference without jinxing them.
I don't see how they can't.
No,
It's-
they have.
Yeah.
I mean, Austin Matthews is like their 4th or 5th highest rated forward. He's got a ton of money. He had the first overall pick this year with Nico. What do you think about his lineup, Aaron? Do you have any thoughts there?
His defense is surprisingly good, and I mean, it might not be smart to say surprising given that he's got Fowler and Letty. I mean, those are solid guys. He's got Ekblad,
man.
Ryan Murray, but like Radko Gudas had a really nice re-rate. Andre Schuster is pretty solid too. So that's, I mean, that's a top 6 anybody would happily take.
I think Mark's right. Kirk has an absolutely insane
that's
defensive
dirty.
core.
He also has possibly the best contract in the entire league with Craig Anderson.
How smart was that signing? Nobody. I remember the year before he went for like $15 million, and then all of a sudden he gets him for like what, 2?
It's instant nausea for me. I can't even think about it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't need to draft a goalie. Maybe you just need to, I don't know, send in a bid on a starting goalie. Kirk, we're sorry you couldn't make it. Definitely look forward to meeting you one day. Crunch are in really good shape.
Yep, pretty solid bunch.
Maybe
And,
the best. Maybe the best in a long time.
And as far as the draft goes, they made a statement and then they got out of
pretty
Dodge.
awesome. This is pretty awesome.
They made
Yeah.
1 pick, first overall, Nico
If you're-
Hischier, however you're supposed to pronounce it.
Yeah.
And then they just walked away from the table.
If you're
Cashed in
only-
their chips.
If you're only going to have 1 pick though, Aaron,
the
why
way to do
not?
it.
Why settle for anything less than the best?
Beats the hell out of doing Mr. Irrelevant. That's a solid pick right there.
Hey, that's not nice calling me Mr. Irrelevant.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, baby. All right. Next up, we have Shawn from the St. Louis
yes.
Spartans, and I'm going to go get him, and we'll be right back. St. Louis.
Yeah, hey,
Welcome
Shawn,
to the
nice
show.
meeting you.
Welcome
Nice
to
meet you.
Canada.
Ah, you
What's
got
up?
your. You
How are
got
you?
your.
Am I allowed to call you fun?
Absolutely
That's fine.
fine.
We're not editing it. That's fine. Shawn, thoughts on the weekend?
Awesome. Like I said at the draft, I can't even believe I'm here. I mean, and it's a crazy thing to be here, and it was as much fun or more than I thought. And these guys did a great job putting this thing on, and it's I'll remember it forever, man. It was awesome.
It's been incredible. And Shawn, you had a pretty incredible draft. I know we were talking a little bit earlier, and you snagged most of the guys you wanted to.
In groups that I wanted to, yeah. I kind
Big
of
draft
wanted
too. Holy
yeah,
moly.
yeah.
picks.
Kirk was looking to get rid of picks, so I grabbed a bunch of them. But
Actually, that's a great segue because Kirk was right before this.
oh, is that right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that
we
works out
commented
well.
on
Yeah.
his 1 little pick right at the start.
right.
Yeah.
His draft list, it was 1 name long.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nice way to go in.
So yeah, it worked out great. He was looking to get rid of those picks, and I wanted to kind of fill out the prospect ranks a little bit. So
Nice.
it was good. A lot of guys, like I think like a lot of us, there's brackets of guys that we want to get, and sometimes you get them and sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
But everyone that I got fell into one of the brackets that I was hoping to get. So
Awesome. Eric, thoughts on the Spartans, on their team or their draft so far?
Well, the big pick that stuck out for me was the first one he made there, Vesalainen. In the league we do not discuss, he went a little bit later there, so you
Yeah,
obviously
right.
had a little bit of confidence taking that pick.
yeah, for sure. It's I use a bunch of different scouting services and kind of average them, and he came out way higher than a lot of people thought he was going to go. And so I tried to slide back a little bit because I thought I could still get him, and then I started to get worried that one of these slick fuckers was going to take him from me. So I just gave up on it and said, you know what, I'm just going to take my guy at 14 if he's there.
Yeah.
And it worked out great. I was happy to have him, and that's the guy that I wanted all along. So
And
good.
your second one, Morgan Frost, dropped a bunch. Did you think you were going to get him
No.
at 42?
Nope, not at all. I didn't expect him to be there. Like we were talking about the brackets, there were a couple guys I thought I was going to get there, and Ryan jumped up and took Robertson. I thought he might slide to there, and a couple other guys. I don't really remember who, but a couple other guys, they just weren't there, and I couldn't believe he was there. So I was happy to jump on that one.
Made it easy.
Eric,
Yeah.
the Spartans have always been kind of a bubble team, but I think this year they're appropriately ranked.
Absolutely.
What do you like? We were looking a little bit earlier. Do you think the Spartans have a shot at the playoffs this year?
So I'm a little bit biased in favor of the Spartans, given that about half of the roster right now is former Schooners. I know the team intimately because I drafted most of them. Big fan of the starting goalie you got there in Freddie Anderson. Big fan of that young defenseman.
No controversy there.
None whatsoever. No, he was on your team right from the get-go, wasn't he? That was a normal trade. Yeah. So, do you have any other standouts on the lineup that you're counting on this year?
The guys that I feel like there's a bunch of guys on my team that are kind of overlooked league wide. And it's. I think Skinner's a guy that people look past.
He had a great re-rate.
And he did poorly last year. So I'm hoping that was a fluke and he'll do well this year. And Ryan Johansson, I think, is a guy that a lot of people don't think. I think he deserves. I think very highly of him. I think a lot of people don't. I expect a big year out of him. Nino Niederreiter is another guy that I think a lot of people overlook, and I expect him to do well too. And then I picked up Bergeron end of last year. That's my franchise player, and expect a big year out of him too.
The sim loves Bergeron. You got a lot of the pieces seem to have come together this time. Did that affect your draft strategy at all, or are you always sort of drafting with the same strategy in mind every year?
I wouldn't say the draft strategy, but what it did affect was I felt like a lot of unlike other years, I didn't feel like there's a hole that I have to fill going into the season. So it made me probably more resistant to trading. Whereas some of these guys were just wheeling and dealing. People weren't really approaching me because I think the same thing. They kind of felt like there wasn't anything that I had a hole that I had to fill that they could offer me something. So it really slowed that down, which is probably better because I was already freaking out with the pressure of making a pick that I knew was going to be higher than probably a lot of people would have taken him. And I got everyone staring at me while I'm making it. So
it was probably my favorite draft. But there was a little bit more pressure to begin. I think once everybody got the hang of it, we kind of eased into it and relaxed. But that first draft was pretty pressure cooker.
There was a comment in the first round about where I'm supposed to go have my nervous puking.
Yeah,
I think everybody felt that. There you go.
Shawn, any final thoughts about the weekend and the league and the season?
No, I would just say that this right here, even what we're doing here, is just a perfect capper of the whole thing. It's just unbelievable. This league, I mean, I don't know how I fell into this league. I don't know how I fell into this weekend. I don't know how I'm sitting here. It's just crazy. This is literally the first league I ever joined, and here we are 20 years later, and we're doing crazy interviews. We're doing interviews at the draft. We got 17 guys standing there making picks. I mean, it's amazing. And the guys that put this thing together, I can't even imagine the time they put into it. So I really appreciate it.
It may be a problem because they did such a good job that we're going to insist on doing it again.
We're pretty high
maybe
here.
not in 20 years, maybe in 5, who knows.
Yeah.
But we all, if you're all, all of us are going to get together. It's just awesome.
For sure. Like you said, it's you get a sense of who these people are, but when you actually meet them, you're like, I like those guys even more than I thought I did.
Exactly.
It's cool.
Right back at you, Shawn. Well, thanks so much. Great meeting you this weekend. Good luck this year.
Appreciate it.
We'll talk to you soon. We are almost at the top 10, and we are absolutely thrilled to introduce our host and largely responsible for one of the best weekends ever, Mike, GM of the Supersonics. Mike, have a seat on your own couch.
Welcome.
I've seen here before.
You seem very comfortable. Mike, thoughts on the weekend?
Well, it's pretty much exceeded my expectations, and I had pretty high ones considering I planned all this stuff.
You knew it was actually happening.
Yes, I was pretty excited, and I think I've been blown away by how much everybody's enjoying it. So.
It's been amazing. Every single person we talk to, the first thing they say is, "Can I say how amazing this weekend is?" And meeting everybody, and a lot of us are from all over North America. We've never met each other before, and just a really good group.
Yeah. I'm actually amazed at how much everybody's getting along. It's a lot of fun. It's awesome. A lot of fun.
Speaking of a lot of fun, the draft today was crazy good. And Mike, you made some really good picks. How did you think the draft went for you?
Pretty good. I think I need to walk back some of my statements that I made right after I made my selection of Cale Makar. When I finally got into my draft list after the fact, I discovered that I actually had Makar higher. Yeah, I had him 3rd overall. So I can't really complain about getting him to 2nd.
And you got a number
trashing him to Velarde. Yeah,
I trashed him a little bit. I did like Velarde, but I actually had Velarde 4th. So it worked out.
Sounds like you made out like a bandit.
Yes, I trust myself from 3 weeks ago more than I trust myself from today.
So Eric, we were looking at Mike's roster, and no real weaknesses. Maybe a small bit on defense, but we have him ranked 11 overall. So do you think Mike's going to make the playoffs this year?
It'll be disappointing if he doesn't. He's got top end forwards. He's got forward depth. He's got a star goalie. He's got a solid top pair on defense. So really, maybe shore up the defense depth a little bit just to be on the safe side, but other than that, it looks like a stud
Well,
team.
for some reason, I've been trading away my defensive depth. So, I did want to make some room for guys like McCabe, and now I think I went too far the other way, and now I'm short.
Do you think you're going to be active in free agency coming up?
I think I will probably have to be, yes.
Yeah.
I think that's, unless I can get somebody in a trade. I don't normally like spending too much money, but...
So planning to make the playoffs, planning to contend?
I think so. I think I'm always trying to plan for the playoffs until I get out, and then I anoint Andre Makarov as my starting goaltender.
Eric, any standouts from Mike's draft? I know, now, to be fair, a lot of us are just focusing on the draft. Mike had to focus on making sure the whole thing happened. So, he had that added pressure, but I think he made away pretty well this year.
He skunked me a couple times, which is, I'm sure he's happy to hear that. You nabbed Safin, which I know he wasn't on my radar, but a bunch of Edmonton area guys were really
very upset with you, which must have made you very happy.
Well, it does, yeah, and I know that most people in Edmonton think that the Oilers got a steal on him, and he went probably... If you were to switch him with, I can't remember who went in the third round, who the Oilers picked in the second or third round, but if you were to switch the picks around, you would have been just as happy. So
nice. Yeah.
I think I got a pretty good deal on him.
And then Ratcliffe there.
Radcliffe.
How pumped are you about that?
That was a good one.
Yeah, I think he'll work out. He's probably a couple years away, but I think he'll work out. I know that again. I think Oilers fans wanted to see the Oilers draft him, so I'll gladly take him.
Very cool.
Get him in Edmonton one way or another.
Just like you did us.
Just like I did you guys. Kicking and screaming.
Again, it's been such a pleasure. Any final thoughts on your team or free agency or the draft? On the season.
No, like I said, I'm hoping to make the playoffs, and if you want to give me your overpriced guys, sometimes I do those trades. So.
You heard it here first. Give Mike some stuff. Yeah. Mike, huge thanks. Can't thank you enough. We had a great time, and good luck on the season.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know why I'm so close, but Eric, we have to talk about probably the most active GM who wasn't even here.
Yeah, it's the new Trader Marty.
It's the insider.
Trader Gary.
It's Trader Gary of the Boston Colonials, who has been super active. We're not going to talk about him too much because he's not here. Gary, we felt like you were here in spirit, though. Yep. I know you FaceTimed a little bit.
Mr. Twitter.
But Gary in the top 10, he's got a strong lineup. He doesn't really have a ton of weaknesses. Should be a lock for the playoffs in the World Conference.
I would have to imagine. He's got possibly the most efficiently priced defensive core in the entire league.
Yeah.
Not a single guy getting paid more than 3.5, but they're all in the 70s pretty much. That kind of offsets the $10 million man, Ryan Kessler. Ooh. Currently the highest paid franchise player in the entire league.
Okay.
So that's an impressive one, but he is also one of the top rated forwards, so fair enough.
Nice.
And really the only kind of knock is that his goaltending is sort of average.
Like 77.
Reimer, 77 is slightly, maybe even a little bit below league average, especially for a contender.
Okay.
But given how strong the rest of that team is, you got to be a little bit worried about the Colonials in the World Conference if you're the one facing them.
I am worried.
Yeah.
I'm extremely concerned. Gary probably going to do very well. Obviously very, very active, and huge thanks to you for running, the Insider Twitter feed. Actually, some people were kind of creeped out at how quickly you would tweet stuff. You're like varies.
Breaking trades that haven't even been submitted yet.
Yeah, I've got my fly, my little birds. Get me some information. But no, it's really added a lot to the league. So that's our, starting with our top 10. Any final thoughts on the Colonials?
He had a very, shall we say, efficient draft today.
Sparse, maybe?
Just 2 picks. Took that Quebec kid, big boy Maxime Comtois.
It's amazing.
It's a great name
draft.
to say. You got to try it for yourself if you haven't yet.
There were some good ones for sure.
And that's actually one that kind of skunked me. So, Gary. And then Gustav Lindstrom. He fell a little bit from where he went in the other league. But still probably higher actually than a lot of scouting services had him. So that's an interesting pick. We'll be watching how he turns out later.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, again, thanks very much. Hope we can meet you next time. And let's move right on to number 9. We've got him right here. Matt Birch, GM of the Calgary Mustangs.
Take
Matt,
a seat, please. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. So, Matt, you basically went almost to the moon and back to get here.
Yes.
Tell us your flight path.
Me and Shawn, we flew to New York City out of St. Louis. New York City to the zoo that we call Toronto Airport. There's people everywhere of all shapes and sizes. And then Toronto to Edmonton, which was the nap flight. That was 4 hours, 4.5 hours. I don't remember. But yeah, I fell asleep for most of it.
So why would you remember? Yeah. So Matt, you were very active this weekend. You are ranked in the top 10 for the entire league. How do you feel about
That's
your
a
team
team.
now, and how do you feel the draft went for you?
The draft had some setbacks. Some players got sniped. Two instances they got right before my pick. It was like they were gone. Like, okay. So I had to call an audible and find somebody else. And my team, the trades just kind of fell in my lap. I did need a defenseman, and then Ian offered me Letang, and I was like, okay, you're going to want my first.
Not going to kick him out of bed.
No, and I wouldn't. And I ended up making all these trades of upgrading my roster, and I kept my first, so I consider that a win.
Absolutely. And, Eric, not completely devoid. I know, Matt said he got skunked a couple times.
Still a solid
but
draft.
I really wanted Robert Thomas.
I know,
that,
right?
I would have taken him at 18 if Nekus wasn't available. Tell me, great picks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You mentioned Thomas. He's a solid one. And then your next two picks both skunked me. I was looking at both Petrozelli and Toropchenko.
Yeah.
So you may have felt you got shorted a little bit, but you did it to the rest of us too.
Well, Petrozelli, I was looking to maybe trade down, like maybe he'd fall a little bit. I was like, no.
Nope.
I missed
He wasn't
out.
going to.
Yeah, I
for the
missed out
record.
on the other goalie, Ottinger. I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to miss out on the other one, so.
Matt, the Mustangs have kind of been on an upward trajectory for a little while now. Did that change how you drafted? Are you going to be super active in free agency? What are your plans sort of short term for the Mustangs?
Probably going to add a defenseman, at least one, because I'm stuck with Michael Roosevelt and his crappy contract.
Right.
So he's got to play for me at least one more year. And maybe a forward, but probably, I don't know, we'll see. Drafting, I try to go for need, but also best player available.
Yep.
I've needed a goalie, so I took two today. I've been on an upward trajectory ever since Bozak played out of his mind.
Yes.
3 years ago.
Yes, that was whatever you did to motivate him.
Yeah.
Let us know your secret, because that was pretty amazing.
I gave him wingers Justin Williams and Matt Reed.
There we go.
All right.
Just get Matt Reed and Justin Williams, and your center problems are solved.
There we go.
Eric, any final thoughts on the Mustangs? I mean, Matt should have a good chance at playoffs in the
absolutely.
competitive Canadian conference.
Yeah, I think if he's not one of the top tier contenders, he's a guy nobody's going to want to play against. There's too much talent on that lineup, and all it takes is a couple good goalies. And you've got a platoon in that, don't you?
What's that?
Your goalies, you're running a pretty solid backup as
I got
well, right?
Howard and I got Lehner.
Yeah.
Howard I can actually play on my farm team.
Well, there you go.
Because he's 1.2 million, and I got Domain, who's rated 70.
That was pretty
So
good.
3 good goalies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So injuries shouldn't be an issue on the back end, at least.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Matt, any final thoughts on the weekend, the draft, your team, the upcoming season, free agency? What do you think?
Well, I just got done telling Mark that the highlight of this weekend was meeting all you guys. It's been great fun, and just everything else is just icing on the cake. But just getting the chance to meet all you guys has been great fun.
Yeah.
Watching these trades go, live, it's getting a little out of control.
That's pretty good.
I think the third overall pick trade, 3 times, 4 times?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a little nuts, but it was amazing.
Well, we really appreciate you coming so far, and likewise, the best part has been meeting everybody, and we hope you stick around for another 20 years. But thanks very much for your time, Matt. Good luck in the season.
No problem.
Alrighty. Take care. All right, guys, we're up next with, we're going to keep on rolling because we got some absentee GMs.
Here we go.
Thanks, Matt. So next up at number 8, we have the scariest offensive team I've ever seen in my life. The Riders have 17 players. That's 17. That's basically the size of a roster, all with 70 scoring or more. Eric, I'm terrified of the Riders.
As you should be.
Yes.
How many times do you play them? They're in your division.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Can I move my team?
I think we're well past that.
To the moon. The moon division. No, Sylvan, the Riders have been a good team for a long time. This is the first year where you can say, without doubt, they're a great team. They have an insane amount of young talent. Any holes he has in his roster, surely he can give away a forward and meet that need.
Or just buy one in free agency. The guy's sitting on a mighty war chest as usual.
Oh, how much money does...
top of my head, I do not know, but he is at $56 million.
Okay, so he could have some
any
free
holes
agency?
that he's got, this is a pretty strong free agency class from what I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, defense, not that it's bad at all. His worst starting defenseman's a 70, but yeah.
My best is a 70.
Yeah, maybe a goalie. He might want to try and pick up Budai to spell off Miller a little bit.
Okay.
That's about it. I mean, there's not a lot of room to criticize that forward group.
He literally has the best offense in the league by a wide margin. He even eclipses, Whitehorse and you and Acadia. Goaltending, 77 for a starting goalie, so maybe he could look to upgrade in goal. But the Riders I would be shocked if they didn't not just make the playoffs. They could make a run for overall best in the league.
Easily. They're horrifying on paper.
Lights out. Awesome. So Sylvain, hope you can make the next one. Sorry we didn't meet, but great job building a great team, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon.
And his draft, my goodness.
Oh yeah, quick note about the draft.
Yeah, he skunked me a couple of times, as he's always done. For the love of God, every time I see this guy. And he managed to catch Elias Anderson as he was dropping.
16.
That is some great value there. That guy's going to be playing. I wouldn't be surprised if it's next year.
Wasn't he 7 in the league? We don't mention.
He was. Yeah, he was a Rangers pick.
So I doubt he thought he's probably drop that low.
Yeah, he's probably got the highest floor of any prospect in this draft. He's going to be a player. Worst case scenario, third liner, but he's got clear top 6 potential. So.
Seems unfair. His team's already very good.
I know, he didn't need him.
But life isn't fair. Just like it's not fair that we're moving on so quickly, let's go on to Quebec. Now, apparently, Corey popped in and I missed him.
Yeah, you were in the washroom. You and Norm.
Corey, why would you...
Interesting.
Norm and I weren't doing anything. No, Corey, I'm sorry I missed you, and I know we were very busy with the Oil Kings training camp.
Pretty cool. We got to stop in on that on our Friday after the tour of Rogers Place.
Out of all the teams that we have this high, the Cannons probably surprised me like no one else.
I had no idea that they'd be this high on the rankings.
Aaron, why are the Cannons so high?
Depth.
Okay.
Depth. They lack any one supreme high-end scorer. Their best forward, believe it or not, Martin Hansel.
Okay.
They just keep going.
Yeah.
They've got guys on the third line that can play second line on a lot of teams. Their defense is just nice and solid. I mean, nothing wrong with Ekholm, Green, Seidenberg, and then Suter, of course, rounds that group out really nicely.
Nope. Nothing wrong with that.
Now, the pièce de résistance, of course, is Devin Dubnyk, with a mighty 83 overall rating, which is second highest in the league.
So on a team with a lot of depth, it's going to be really hard to score goals against the Cannons.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
They got a lot of defensive ratings on their forwards as well, so it seems like it's going to be a strong, turtley type of team.
Okay. So Corey has a lot of, I think he's okay financially as well. So any, holes forward he can probably look for in free agency. The Cannons, never really a really bad team, but certainly I think this is the highest I've had them in the preseason for a long, long time. One pick, but not a bad pick.
Nope, and it kind of fits with the theme of the team.
Right.
Defensive team, they go with probably the best defensive defenseman in the draft in Cal Foot.
He murders people on the ice.
And that kid's got a bit of a pedigree, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. His dad, Adam Foote, was 19 seasons in the NHL.
Unbelievable.
So he's going to be probably pretty ready, I would say, sooner rather than later. Maybe earlier than other defensemen.
Entirely possible.
Cool. All right. Well, Corey, congratulations on building a good team, and we're sorry you couldn't make it. I'm sorry I missed you for being in the bathroom, but we appreciate you stopping by, and congrats on your ranking, and good luck with the rest of the season. And that is going to bring us to probably the most, Sam, you were the talk of the town.
Absolutely.
Sam decided to really leapfrog his rebuilding team status, and Sam is all of a sudden finding himself 6th in the league with a monster lineup. Sam, Eric, tell me a little bit about Sam. He traded away some draft picks, but he got some value back.
Did he ever?
Yeah.
It's a little hard to even understand where he was coming from with this, because he essentially took a 5 to 7 year rebuild plan, took the war chest he acquired in the first 3 years of that, and decided he was done being patient. He's ready to play.
He was patient for 3 or 4 seasons, drafted very well, has some really good young players, Eichel, Gaudreau, but he's like, I've got the assets, and I've got people wanting to buy, and Sam's like,
I'm going to spend my money.
I'm taking advantage of this.
Yep.
Great job, Sam. You are ranked number 6. Again, no real weaknesses at all. Among the best forward core, among the best defensive core. The only downside.
How he did it too.
Yeah.
So the big trade that I think put Sam on everybody's radar was the deal with Dustin.
Crazy deal.
Something like $50 million changed hands.
But what does he need $50 million for? He's got
that's a drop in the bucket.
Cash in the bank and gas in the tank.
It's not like he's getting paid interest to keep it, right?
No.
Yep.
I'm really happy with what Sam's done. Sam, sorry you couldn't make it. Hopefully we can meet real soon. And you're primed for a very, very good team. You're certainly not going to find the Rabbits at the bottom of the standings anymore.
No, not a chance.
They're almost a top 5 team in the whole league. I would say a pretty safe bet to be a top seed in the World Conference.
Yep, I'd agree with that too.
Nice.
And as far as the draft went, it was obviously not a priority for them anymore. They're ready to compete,
they're ready
so
to
they
go.
shipped most of the picks. They did keep a couple. Grabbed Maxim Zhukov, which I'm actually kind of ashamed to say I was planning on taking immediately after that. So thanks for skunking me there, buddy. And then another goalie. He took 2 goalies with his only 2 picks. He got that Finnish kid that Carolina nabbed. Like 60 spots after he went in the other league.
Oh, okay.
So maybe some value on that one too.
Totally.
So nice job with the auto picks.
That worked out. Maybe. No, great job, Sam, and hopefully we can meet you someday. But yeah, the Rapids are rapidly rising in the standings, and that is it for our absentee GMs. So we're going to be right back with Dustin, one of also our most sort of talked about GMs of the weekend. So be right back. Dustin, your thoughts on the weekend and the draft?
Well, I was a part of it.
You were.
So that was
that was a nice change of pace.
I scrambled my way in and out of the draft a couple times, but yeah, I thought it ended up going pretty good. I managed to turn over more than 50% of my team.
That's pretty
and
impressive.
we'll see. I mean, the old team didn't work, so maybe this one will.
I mean, you were close. You were in the
finals.
finals.
We were in the finals, semifinals twice.
Yeah.
I just.
You
couldn't get over the hump.
You felt the need. Well, that's what we love. You know, obviously, Dustin, you were the most active guys. Eric, any thoughts on the Aces, either their draft or how they're going to do this year? Obviously, we have them top 5, so
I'm surprised they're top 5.
You're looking good.
The interesting bit being that you're immediately after Denver, who bought basically half of your team, rescued you from the red and pulled you out.
Like,
with, what was it, 36 million?
Seriously,
or 50
I was 26 million in the hole.
Unreal.
And then Sam decided to give me 48 million this weekend. Yep. And I traded a bunch of UFAs that'll help him, but I would have been, and once again, thank you, Sam. This time next year, I would have been screwed. I would have had no money, and I would have lost like half my team to free agency. So
does Sam own shares in the Las Vegas
It
Aces
sure
now?
seems like it, doesn't it?
What
Yeah.
kind of return on investment is he getting?
Angel investor, yeah. Well, have you ever seen Sam and I in the same room?
I have not.
Just saying, Sam.
Who knows?
Strings.
Yeah.
Eric, any thoughts on the Aces lineup? I mean, he's obviously got a killer lineup again.
It's something to envy for sure. I mean, even after ditching half of the team, he's still got Malkin, Kopitar, Granlund.
I've heard of those players.
Yep, they're pretty solid guys. Subban, Niskanen on defense, and then he managed to reacquire Carey Price.
Yeah, I got him back.
Nice.
Why you dealt him away in the first place is still beyond me.
Man, I went
fixed it.
Price for Rask, then Rask for Bobrovsky, or was it I had Rask got Price? Anyway, I've had Price, Rask, Bobrovsky, Smith, and now I managed to move back for Carey Price, and he's signed for the next 3 years, so
fantastic.
I've got him for a little while, and now I don't like. I think last year goaltending let me down in the playoffs, so I shouldn't have to worry about that at all for the next 3 years.
And we know, Dustin, you may have not started with picks, but you had some in the end. What was your ideology behind that? Did you want to acquire them because it's fun, or did you think, like, I want to get into part of it, or is it thinking of the future as well?
Well, being here, I need to have some picks.
Yeah.
So that was key. That's why I got Corey's originally. But then after I got Corey's, I had an opportunity to get Price, so then I moved him, and I was like, oh man, I got to get back in there again.
Right.
So when Sam offered me the 15th pick and some cash for Carter, I had to do it. And there was 2 guys I really liked. Like I actually legitimately wanted them. One was Yamamoto, who Guy took 2 picks ahead of me, but I was totally fine with Tolvin and Kid that I got.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Finn's, Granlund, Teravainen, who I picked up this weekend, so I think he's going to be legit.
Yeah,
Eric,
he turned some heads with that pick for sure, because he went significantly later in the other league.
Yeah, I think I took him 16 spots higher than the other league, if we're allowed to talk about it.
But fully justified.
Just say the other league.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Eric, thoughts on Dustin's? And in the end, Dustin, you still had 7 picks. Eric,
Yeah.
any thoughts on the picks that Dustin had?
There's a bunch of standout guys there, honestly. He got great value with Zach Lauzon there.
Yeah,
went significantly higher in that other league. Pittsburgh really like him. Smirnov, talented kid, maybe a little. Still, you draft for skill in this league, right?
Well, you know, one thing with him is he's a Russian who's already here.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, maybe he still goes back, but at least I don't worry about him coming over.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I know Guy and I were talking about that for sure.
Yeah.
Dustin, any final thoughts on the weekend?
No, I mean it was a great weekend. I mean, thanks for putting me top 5. I'm a little nervous because I need to sign like 4 forwards and probably 2 D-men.
Yeah.
But I think I have the funds to get it done. The only problem is that I did all this work this weekend and like tried to have my team to get out of financial problems. And I know this time next year I'm going to be like $15 million. And then I'm going to have to like do it all over again, which is kind of fun. I mean, it gives you something to do in the off season.
For sure.
That's nice. Yeah.
It's always nice. The league really flourishes when we have a lot of active GMs, you know, a lot of trades, a lot of money movement. So I think it's best for the league.
Right,
So.
you know, now that we've all been here together, maybe it'll be easier to, I mean, you put faces to everybody.
I'm hoping.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that might
Awesome.
help too.
All right, Justin, well, thanks very much for joining us. Great meeting you, and thanks for the ride over here today.
Good work.
All right, thanks very much. Jeff Prozeller. Jeff, join us. Thank you for thank you for
welcome.
With your trademark cigar and our trademark light that keeps turning off because I don't know how to work a light switch. Jeff, I am really happy that you're wearing that shirt. If I may, let's just do if I just cover up the WHI.
Other hand. Your right hand.
No.
Use your right hand.
Use your other hand.
Take the stogie out.
There
you go.
Ski
no.
is my wingman. I mean, thank you for wearing that shirt. I mean, no, you did that on purpose, of course. Jeff, thoughts on the weekend?
Frustrating, I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
Different tone.
Do tell.
I was hoping I could make more deals than I ended up doing.
Okay.
I was looking for a defenseman. I was looking for a top 9 forward, and I just couldn't get anything done. I was willing to move my first. I was willing to move my second.
Just didn't happen.
Couldn't make it happen.
But Eric, the Revolution are not necessarily in a bad spot. They're number 4 in the entire league. Do you like Jeff's chances this year?
If this was a number 4 team because of a whole whack of impending UFAs, then yeah, I would understand. He'd be a little bit grumpy about how the weekend went. You have McDavid, you have Lindholm, you have Sagan. Like, I don't actually feel very badly.
No, I don't either. I don't either at all.
Yeah.
Jeff, you've got a great team. The Revolution have been building and for a long time. You know, you're number 4. It's pretty much a toss-up at this point with the other 3 teams. So basically a lock to make the playoffs in the World Conference. But how did you think, with the draft picks you had, how did you think you did today?
I'm actually happy. I moved out of the first round into the second, and then I actually moved back into the first round. So I kind of did a little finagling there, but I'm happy with the guys I got. All of them were not picks that I was forced to make. They were all picks guys that I actually wanted and had targeted. So I'm happy with that.
To that end, tell us a little bit about the Shane Bowers pick, because that was a guy that wasn't on a lot of teams' radars.
Yeah, I know. And actually, that pick was a weird pick. It was I was originally targeting Josh Norris, and I made an audible up at the podium. And went with Shane Bowers.
Nice.
I just felt like he was the safer pick. Josh Norris had the higher potential, but it was kind of one of those, there's so many home runs in this year's draft that aren't going to pan out, and I just felt like he might be the safer guy.
A safe single instead of maybe a home run.
Yeah, going for the double instead of the home run. Exactly.
Fantastic. Jeff, thoughts on the weekend's festivities? I know you know some people, but have you thought meeting everybody, and how do you think it went?
I've got meeting everybody. It's a great group, a lot of fun GMs. Had a blast. Want to do it again soon.
Yeah, I think that's the common theme there. Aaron, any final thoughts on the Revolution, on Jeff's roster, on his draft, anything you can think of?
Easy. I don't want to play him.
No, I don't want to play him either. I can play you so many
I'm really
times.
glad that that's my conference.
I like that, actually.
I'm afraid our rivalry is now no longer, because I am number 25 this year, so we may not see each other very often, but Jeff's one of the best GMs in the league for a number of different reasons, but I think overall because he's so active. Really good on Twitter, helps build the community, helps with the financial analysis sometimes. So yeah, Jeff, I think you're a credit to the league, and we appreciate being here.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks. All right, guys, we're going to move on to number 3. Jeff, thanks very much for.
No problem.
Unless you have any final thoughts, we'll wish you well.
I'm going to go smoke this with Kamish.
Sounds good to me. All right, thanks, buddy. All right, everybody, we are finally down to our final 3, and I think a guy most of us were really excited to meet, just because I'd never met him in person before. One of the best in terms of community involvement and energy and passion and knowledge of hockey. Don, GM of the Huskies. Don, join us, please. Have a seat on the couch right here.
My pleasure to meet you
All
guys.
right, thanks, Don.
The emoji enigma himself.
Don, we've had a hell of a weekend. Your thoughts on the festivities and the draft and the weekend? Yeah,
it was one of the greatest weekends ever. It was absolutely fabulous. The rink is. We want to go back and redo our rink with all the revenue streams and everything.
Oh yeah,
it was amazing. Yeah, it was great week, and it was great to know everybody and make some deals or get a feel for the rest of the league. It was a good time. Yeah, it was.
I feel like, Dustin mentioned earlier that now that we know each other face to face, maybe deals in the future might just be that much easier because, we kind of meet face to face, trust each other.
you know. It depends what situation you're in, eh? If you're a rebuilding team, a lot of these guys have been waiting on these players for a long time, and they don't want to give up on them, eh?
That's
but,
true.
it depends what situation they're in. Personal relationships may make the deals easier, they may make them harder, eh?
Okay.
You know, once somebody beats you in the playoffs, you don't want to give
you never want to talk to them
like
again.
I put a trade offer there where I just said, okay, just the World League guys only, and I was just getting trashed by all the Canadian guys. Like, guys, what's this? You can't do this. It's like I'm some kind of setting up some kind of.
You can do whatever you want.
Well, I did, but I mean, it wasn't well liked. Eh? So you have to be a bit more diplomatic. Eh?
Yeah. Eric, once again, the Huskies, year after year, are one of the top-rated teams.
Steady.
Sort of outsider's thoughts on Don's team that he's put together. Again, an amazing team, number 3 overall, and not that far from number 1.
It's a team I never want to play. That defense especially. Mark made a potentially controversial comment earlier that he wouldn't trade his defensive lineup for anybody other than Kirk's. I wouldn't trade my defensive lineup for anybody other than Don's. It's ridiculous. It's second to none in my opinion.
Don, did that influence your drafting strategy? Were you thinking best player available or positionally?
The way I look at it now on the defense, it's super thick. These guys, Hedman, Dowdy, Stone, Alsner, we picked these guys. They're high-end picks, and we've been waiting on them for years. We've been using them. Now we've got Zamnoff coming up. We've got Tyson Berries. We've got Petrovac. So we go 8 deep. We go 8 deep on defense right now. I won't lie to you. I wanted Eli Tolivan on the draft day, and I got him stolen away from me by Dustin, the wheeler dealer. Right there. So then I had to look at who's the best guy available. I figure right now the way the SICHL is going, and I have drafted a lot of bigger guys in the past. We're shifting. We're shifting to maybe more speed. So we will look at smaller defensemen or smaller guys. And that's why I took Branston off there, because he can skate. I really liked his skating. There's a couple other guys, Ottinger the goalie, Poling the centerman. I really like them too. But at the end of the day, I just figured we've got a real core of forwards that are not quite ready. We're not the same as the defense. They're going to be coming up. And the defense has 8 strong, and then after that, there's kind of a gap where we didn't draft a lot of defensemen. We got Brendan Gooley. We had a few guys in there that are pretty good, then a bunch of maybes. So in this draft, we ended up, the way it worked out, we got sniped on a few, goalie and a couple other forwards. We ended up with 1 forward, and the rest of the guys are all D-men.
Awesome.
And we just took the best guy available when they came up.
And that was good value for Branston at 22.
I think
that was really nice.
Listen, I watched the summer showcase. It was in the United States, and they had Finland, Sweden, Canada, and the States there. So I got to see all these guys play, and I seen a whole bunch of them. And that kind of, some guys came up in our books, and some guys came down. But we spent a lot of time. We sent a whole crew. You guys read about it. We sent the whole crew down there, and they were looking at this, going over everybody. And he stood out for us. We really liked this game. He's really fast. So,
and with the way the league's going, speed is the trend, right?
We're going to the Erik Karlsson model of defenseman. That's modern defense now.
Yeah. Sure. We want guys that can skate, and if you can't skate, we don't want to wait. And some of these bigger guys, we've been waiting on them. So like they're 26 years old. Come on, this Branston. I figure he's going to be, not that we need him, but he might be ready in 3 or 4 years, as opposed to some. He's already got the skill
6 or 7
speed.
or something like that. Yeah.
Our philosophy is we have Dawson City 60 Belows, the East Coast League, and we have the Claim Jumpers as our farm team. We also have the Oliver Billies in the East Coast League. So when we get close to 100 guys in our team, we have the Huskies stocked. The Claim Jumpers are right there, stocked with players, and then we got the other 2. So we got 3 teams are going. Now, the Dawson City 60 Below East Coast Leagues, we might throw a few players, usually a few veterans and stuff like that. There's guys that have been going there every year. They've never made any other team, and that's kind of their home.
Right.
But it's a good base. What we believe is like a pyramid. You have to have a solid base, and then you build from there. I thought we had a really good chance to win last year. We're still heartbroken at home. Our fans are shocked. Sorry, fans. We're trying to do better at home. We had these guys by the throat, and you know what? Hats off to them. They beat us fair and square.
You're doing a pretty good job.
Sounds like a man with a vision.
Team is still ranked number 3. Are you going to be active in free agency at all?
We'll have to see. I put my roster out there. There was, made it look like it wasn't a leak. I put the roster out there. The lineup I have, I don't really see too many holes. It depends. Free agency is so freaking expensive.
It is.
Like, you know what? I don't want to overpay. It depends. Like, guys were just paying crazy there and money, $20-30 million flowing around and stuff like that. You know what?
Can't afford that.
No, we're like the pyramid. You build a base and you build it up slowly. And a lot of these guys, you know, we pick them, and we're a family here. The Sutters and all us, all the brothers, we're all in here. We're a family, and we encompass this. We bring people in, and you're part of our family. Would you trade your dog? Would you trade, you know, it means a lot for. If we
How many first rounders am I getting?
Pardon me?
How many first? Well,
I know you would, but you know, a lot of these guys we've been waiting on. Like Jordan Stahl's our captain. He's 5 years. He's getting us re-signed. There's no dickering. You know, he's our captain. Or Doughty. They're here. They're here. We're just gonna sign the check. And that's why we don't go to free agent and give some guy we don't know $10 million or $19 million for Panarin. We don't even know these people.
Right.
Why wouldn't we just sign our own people? You know? And we have a personal relation with that. If somebody doesn't fit into our team with their character or the way they're behaving or they do something we don't like, you know, we will try and work with them. But if they're just not a fit for us, we don't have a problem, you know, moving them somewhere else. And the guys we got here now, they all get along. The room's good. And we may incorporate some of these new guys into the lineup, but there is one guy that we got last year that's surprisingly, and this isn't the way we do things. His name's Matthew Tkachuk. And just from the way he's looking now in training camp and stuff, I think he's got a real chance of making the big team.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll be pretty much a first from the Huskies when you get a guy that's that young on our club. So he's got a real good chance in playing some mid.
Savvy pick.
Michael Nylander. He's offensively, he's ready. He had a great year last year with the claim jumpers. But we're thinking, you know, he's a top 6 guy. Should we have him down there and play all the time, take over like he did last year? Or should we bring him up and to help us there? We may do a little of both. He may be in the minors for a while, see how he does, and then if we need him. But we don't want to bring a guy like that up and put him on the 4th line. He's a first-line guy. It ain't going to work. So
you can say that Don is the mad genius of the mad scientist of the SICHL, but I kind of lean more towards genius than mad because Don, you have a competitive team year in, year out, and you're a great guy. Thanks very much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure to meet you
guys.
Right back at you.
Best of luck in the season.
I wish you luck in your life and everything else during the season. Well, you know, if you have a bit of bad luck.
That's all right. All right.
Anyway, thanks a lot.
Thanks very much, Don. All right, we'll see you later. All right, and we're going to go right into the number 2 pick, which is buddy right next to me, Eric Schneider of the Nova Scotia Schooners. That close again to being ranked number 1.
Every year. Unbelievable.
So, Eric, you have a really, 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 really ridiculously good team.
Thank you.
Again, what a surprise. Thoughts on your team and how the draft went today?
Oh, man. I'll echo everybody else this evening who's been talking about the weekend just being overwhelming, in all honesty.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, didn't see it being anywhere near this this detail-oriented for starters. Mike put on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
Just being able to meet all of the guys, get a face to the emoticons, as it were. You just met Don, and boy, has that been a revelation.
It's just amazing, and especially since we've been in the league, you and I combined for 27 years. You know, it's been a large part of like staying together and keeping in touch, and just the attitude of everybody and like friendship. It's like we've been friends for a long time.
That's the thing. Like I like to joke with my wife. The SICHL is my longest functional relationship. I joined the league a week before I met her. So it feels pretty fitting.
That's good, yeah. Eric, how do you think the draft went today? I know you were happy with some, but you got sniped a little bit.
I did. I got a little bit sniped on a few picks later on, but my first 4 picks were all guys that I was targeting.
Awesome. Number 10, you had to be happy with Pettersson going to number 10?
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I kind of agonized over that. It was like 51-49 between Pettersson and Suzuki. And I tried desperately after making that pick to trade up and just outright buy one of the next 2 picks so I could take Suzuki as well, because I was so torn on that.
Okay.
That didn't fall into place, but I think I kind of made up for it by trading up into the early 2nd round and nab Philip Keitel.
Nice.
Guy that I had down around 20, and I got him at 31 or whatever that was. So pretty happy about that. Took a little flyer on Tarasov. Guy who was injured practically all of last season, so
he's young.
It's a flyer, but I'm excited about him.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Just again, amazing weekend, Eric. How do you think did you draft differently due to being in the same room as everybody, or was your strategy pretty much the same as it's always been?
The strategy was the same. The preparation amount was ridiculous compared to previous years.
I agree.
I did way more homework than I've ever done for a draft before because I didn't want to come in here and look like an idiot in front of all of these guys.
It's okay, I did that without you. That was fine.
You did fine. You had a pretty solid draft too.
Great having you here, buddy. Obviously, Schooners again, perennial contenders, but we don't know if the sim will agree. So, number 2 overall, and we're going to bring in number 1 right now. Eric, any final thoughts, I should say, before I go to Guy? Oops, I mean, spoiler. Well, I mean,
spoiler alert. Yeah,
yeah,
I think the process of elimination there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping this year I can be a better coach than a GM, because I think I've done the opposite of that in previous years, and it hasn't really served me well. So,
all right, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Cool. Best of luck, and obviously great having you. And stick around, everybody, for number 1. One of the Mephistopheles of the SICHL, Guy Fleming. Guy, please join us. Thanks very much.
Welcome to the couch.
Nice meeting you. Guy, your thoughts on the weekend, on the draft and the festivities?
Fantastic, wasn't it?
It was awesome.
Those guys, they put a ton of work into this. It was fantastic. I thought, from top to bottom, all the effort that Mike put into putting all the packages together, arranging the tour, the rink tour for you guys.
It was amazing.
It's fantastic.
That's really cool. Guy, you're obviously one of the most active GMs when it comes to drafting. Were you happy with your picks and your moves you made today and yesterday?
Yeah, I made a lot of moves.
Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't sure I was going to move Bufflin, but when I could get 3 overall, I had to look at it. So, yeah, so I did that, and then traded that. Got a couple more first rounders. So to get 4 first rounders, I'll be honest, part of it was just to drive you guys all
Mission accomplished.
You know what? No, it didn't drive me crazy because I expected it. I mean, even 4 for you is pretty good in 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was good. So, yeah, then I got all the guys that I wanted. So, yeah, it worked out.
Were you surprised at how well the draft went today for other teams as well? Because this is the first time we've all kind of been together. Did you feel it went longer than you thought, or it went more smoothly than you thought?
Well, the trade slowed things down.
For sure.
The first round took a while.
It did.
But after that, it went pretty quickly, didn't it?
Yep,
I mean,
sure
we were waiting for the guys who weren't here at that point.
Exactly.
To make your picks and stuff. But, no, so I thought it went pretty smooth. First round was slow. After that, it was great.
That was awesome. Eric, thoughts on your rival? Once again, the Golden Bears, the toast of the town. Can anybody beat Guy this year?
I don't even know how to answer that appropriately. Not without cussing.
Without swearing. It's okay.
This
Shawn,
is supposed to be a PG.
Shawn was actually the
PG
rated guest, so far.
Yeah, no, it's disappointing being in the same division as the Bears.
I know.
It's pretty damn frustrating having to play the guy 6 times a year. And that's if we don't face each other in the playoffs, which we usually do.
Yeah.
And I think I've only beaten you the 1 time, the first time out. So that's, kind of annoying.
Fair enough.
Looks like we're trending in the same direction this year.
Yeah.
Probably another 7-game series to look forward to.
I would think.
Yeah.
Unless I get knocked out in the first round again. Calgary, thanks.
Amen.
It happens.
Let somebody else do it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be me.
Guy, in terms of success, obviously you've won multiple championships, among the most ever. If
I got some banners in the car.
You've got some banners.
Yes.
Brought those in.
Oh my
your
God.
first round exit, does that change your draft strategy, or are you always set the way you want to do things?
No, it didn't affect the way I drafted or anything. I still think I had a pretty good team, even with moving a guy like Bufflin. I looked at it and I thought, defensively, that means I'm going to keep Justin Braun, who's ranked higher. He's got a higher defensive rating. He's also $4 million cheaper.
Right.
And if I lose any offense from Bufflin, Rasmus Ristolainen is going to give me some offense. So is Colton Parayko a little bit, and so is Jacob Trouba. So I don't think I'm going to take a step back offensively or defensively.
And that's with the Ghost Bear on your farm team too,
on my
right?
farm, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, he had a bad year last year in real life, so he needs a bounce back, and then things get interesting next year.
Guy, any thoughts on free agency? Are you going to be pretty active, or are you going to stand pat? What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because I thought I was up against the 100 cap issue, so I moved a bunch of bodies and I made a bunch of trades where I was giving up 3 for 1, and then after the draft today, I see all my new guys are on my roster, and my number didn't go up, so I'm still sitting at 88. And I said to Mark, and he said, "No, once the season starts over, the draft picks are included in your asset count." So my 12 picks or whatever I had were already included.
Right.
I thought I had to clear and make room for my draft picks.
Right.
So suddenly I have like 12 spots.
You're a kid in the candy store.
I may actually be active this year in free agency.
Very cool.
God help us all.
Eric, any final thoughts on the number 1 team, the Golden Bears?
I wish there was something I could poke a hole in with the whether it's the war chest at 50-something million, or the farm team, or his prospects, or his actual roster, but there isn't a weakness in the system. it's a little bit disgusting.
There's a reason.
I feel some bile at the back of my throat every time I look at that team.
There's a reason that when we do the preseason power rankings, Guy's almost always at or near the top. He knows his stuff, obviously. You should subscribe. Maybe check out his Patreon if you're interested. He was telling us a little bit about that earlier on. So, hey, maybe you can learn something and be a better GM. Who knows? Guy, any final thoughts on the weekend and SICHL in general?
With my roster, I think goaltending's good. I think my blue line is really good. I am a little concerned about my forward scoring strength. Because I don't have a lot of guys who are in the 80s for scoring. I actually had to go out and get Patrick Maroon, who's like a 69 overall, but he's 84 scoring.
Right. Yeah.
So I need some guys to score.
Okay.
Eberle had a terrible year in real life, so he's suddenly a 75 scorer. Whereas this Yanni Gourde punk with 22 games under his career belt is an 81.
If it makes you feel any better, Ryan's team is literally dead last.
Yeah, well,
so we got to give him something, right?
Yeah. So I'm a little concerned about my ability to score, but I think I still have a pretty competitive team.
I agree. I agree. Well, that's it, guys. Guy, thanks very much for joining us. It's been great meeting you this weekend.
You guys too, even you, Eric.
Yeah. You're just a big teddy bear, aren't you? Get off my couch.
Great meeting you. No, come back. No, seriously, good luck, man. Thanks for joining us. And we'll talk to you soon.
It's been a pleasure.
All right, guys.
All right. So we're going to bring absolutely everybody back and going to try and cram them into this one video. We'll be right back.
Lower the cameras.
Okay, so this is the most amount of people we've ever had on any kind of SICHL video. It's every GM in the league that was here. Hey! Okay, and now what we're going to do is have each person turn to the camera and say in one word what made this weekend so great at the same time so we can't understand you. 3, 2, 1, go! I thought they were going to say a sentence, not just yell something.
You said one word!
I thought I said one sentence. This is why I should do rehearsals. All right, everybody, I think we can give a huge round of applause to Mark and Mike for an incredible weekend. This has been the preseason power rankings for the best fantasy hockey league, the best fantasy league, period, the Supreme Intercontinental Hockey League. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you later as the lights dim.